Tigers on the Mic. This is the podcast led by the students of Clemson where we talk about Clemson sports and the culture around it and our sports media.
hmm I'm Bennett, a junior here at Clemson, and I'm pumped to be back on the mic with you all. Alongside me are my awesome podcast co-hosts, Drew, Christian, and Charlie. Together, run Tigers on the Mic, where we dive into all things sports, from Clemson's biggest game days to the behind-the-scenes stories that don't always make the headlines. We're especially interested in how sports communication shapes the way fans see teams, athletes, and student leaders.
Yep. Thank you very much, Bennett. Today, we're just going to get right into it with our guest. We have a really good friend of mine and the president of Clemson Club Soccer, Tony Jaime, and he's going to talk to us a little bit more about what the structure is like at the club level because, here at Clemson, we have, although yesterday didn't go too well and the season's been kind of not the best, but we have very good soccer history, and the club level is just as high, just as competitive. So we're going to talk to him about that, and then in the second segment, it will be just us co-hosts talking about our connections to class.
Yep, club sports play a huge role on this campus, as we know, and today we're going to get to hear from somebody who's right in the middle of that, running a team, managing the players and whatnot, and trying to grow the club's presence on this campus. So let's jump straight into it.
Yeah, so we are super excited to welcome Tony Jaime, president of Clemson Club Soccer. Tony helps run one of the biggest and most competitive club teams on campus, balancing being a student, a player, and basically the GM of the squad. From organizing tryouts and away trips to building team culture, he's got a unique perspective on what it takes to keep a student-run program thriving. Tony, thanks for joining us and welcome to Tigers on the Mic.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. Yeah, like I said, my name is Tony Jaime. I'm also a junior here at Clemson University. Uh, my freshman year out starting off, I wanted to play soccer, keep playing competitively, and I tried out and I was really devastated for not making it, not even the second day. I can see how competitive it was during the first two tryouts, and honestly, like it was a grind. I had to after I didn't get rostered. I took time to like practice, train by myself out at Fike in front of Fike. There's like fields. I would go to those fields and just ball out and just grind on my skills. And I tried out my spring semester freshman year, and I made it all 4 days, and it was
Let's
honestly an
go.
accomplishment that from what I've learned, fall semester, extra training, like never give up, obviously is one thing, and working on your skills. Obviously, this can also relate to academics as well, like failing a test, failing a presentation. You practice, you learn from it, and you succeed on the next presentation. And that's what I did with that's what I did for the love of soccer. And after making my freshman year in the spring semester, I had so much fun. I never really like realized how really competitive it was going against other teams like UGA, Georgia Tech, really awesome, really good team, Louisville, and all teams across the southern region of the country. And I am currently the co-president as a junior, and alongside me is Derek Wells, who's also a president as well. We work together, schedule teams, tryouts, managing dues, find any financial expenses we have. And so far, our season is over currently. We unfortunately didn't make regionals, which was kind of devastating. Our record wasn't too good, but like I said, we learned from this season and we try to move on to the next and see what we can do better from there. Next semester, we plan on having a tournament at FSU, which will be so much fun. We will probably have a whole van filled with like 20 of us going down to Florida and visiting FSU and competing at a high level. But yes, the structure of this club soccer team, yes, we have tryouts, it's 4 days, and Christian's right, the competitiveness is high. We usually only take 5 or 6 players out of 100 kids. And the first day of tryouts, we usually just do passing drills, work on touches, kind of warm up the guys, see how everyone's touches after the summer, and then we move into small-sided goals. We split into different teams based on positions, and then we have another small side goals with bigger goals and see how the keepers do. And it's just like that for the whole entire tryouts. And like I said, we only take 5 or 6 players, same thing spring. And then we usually practice at Y Beach on the championship
Hmm.
fields. And also host our Oktoberfest, which we usually have every fall semester, which is so much fun. We have different teams different colleges around the country that come in. Like I said, Georgia Tech came, Louisville, University of Kentucky pulled up, and it was so much fun. It was very competitive, a lot of talking, trash talking, but it's fine. That's the level that college soccer offers. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that, Tony. Sorry also about, I don't know if you guys heard, the plane was literally like, felt like 50 feet
I
above
just heard it too. Yeah.
these Thanksgiving flights. Um, but yeah, thank you for that, 50-foot overview, Tony. Good breakdown. Now we're just going to get into some questions for you. You made it your second tryout of freshman year with, like, all things considered, that's like a very good performance for Clemson club soccer. A lot of people can try out 3, 4, 5 times before even making it. Once you made it, what led you to want to become president? What made you said, I don't just want to play, I want this like leadership role?
So like I said, I've been playing soccer all throughout my life, and as soon as I joined the Clemson club soccer team, I saw an opportunity to take on president. The current president, when I was a sophomore, asked me if, hey, do you want to pursue this presidency next semester? And I thought about it. I also thought about school, and is this going to conflict with school and all that? And I spoke to the former president. He was like, "No, dude, it's all right as long as you have your time management ready, and as long as if you're like adaptable to certain changes, you'll be fine." You know what? Let me take this risk. Let me take a leadership role, so it'll look good on my resume as well. But I took the opportunity, and so far I think it's going great. Um, it is kind of new to me a little bit. I was a captain my high school, my senior year of high school, which is a little different than president. I still had leadership roles from high school, but I for a Clemson club soccer team, I'm in charge of treasurer, even the social media page, uh, the team, and all the drills that we do during practices or throughout the season, and yeah, I would say like I wanted to try this. I want to try this opportunity and see how it goes. So yeah.
Nice, nice. What would you say, Tony, like just on sort of the day-to-day side of things, like what are some of your responsibilities mainly as co-president of the club team?
Yeah. So as co-president, whenever my Derek Wells, president, needs help with scheduling or making a spreadsheet of who can go to these games or what, I'm in charge of that. I'm also in charge of the social media page as well. If you can look at our Instagram page, we usually post all of our games in our schedule. We try to post the final results from each game, but based on our season, it's just not really there. But social media page, I'm also in charge of that. And just duties that the president needs help and with
Yeah.
anything, phone calls, interviews, and renting out the field because we usually need to pay whenever we have a game. But those are kind of my duties as co-president.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome, dude. So, Clemson Club Soccer can be super competitive, as we know, but it's still student run. So, how do you balance keeping a fun and inclusive atmosphere while also setting a serious standard for commitment and performance?
So yeah, we usually so after tryouts, we take the new kids and we have a nice little gathering. What it could be anyone's house, for example. Um, I have a friend that lives in Sloan Street. We usually gather around and hang out there. We just congratulate them and kind of like make them feel included within the team immediately so they can have that commitment and love for this club team because we need new members and new people to take on these leadership roles. And we want to keep this club going for years and years. So any type of love or comfortableness is what is needed for this club team.
Mhm. I love that. Um, and like as you said, you run like the social media page. So like on like a more like communication standpoint, how do you get people to show up, whether it's like players at tryouts and practices or fans?
Yeah.
What's worked the best, whether it's Instagram, group me, flyers, word of mouth?
Yeah. So beginning of the semester, we had a Tiger Brawl.
Mm.
We had a table set up, and we made a whole poster. It's Clemson Club soccer team. We had two balls on each side of the table, and we were pretty much like salesmen. We were like we were trying to like gather people to come in, new freshmen, new incoming people to expand this club team. And like I said, I felt like a salesman out there. I'm like, hey, you gotta try
Mhm.
it out. You gotta come here. It's so much fun. Also, our social media page has been a really big impact with our marketing. We would post stories about like, hey, we're gonna be on Tiger Pro. We have a game at Y Beach. Come at 3 p.m. We're going against UGA, and it's just like I said, social media has been a big factor of gathering people and fans. Also with tryouts, we post about when the tryouts are, what time, how much is it to buy in, and yeah.
That's that marketing degree getting used, bro.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, you've like mentioned it a few times now, but basically our class is sport news media, and something we've talked about a lot is the multiple responsibilities. If you want to work in sports now, you kind of have to be a jack of all trades. And you've talked like several times how you run the social media as well. How have you noticed that that's the case now in sports? You can't just be a president. You can't just, take work with the treasurer and say, hey, this is how much money we have, this is how we have to budget. Now you have to say, oh, we have to promote ourselves. We have to, show we're a serious club, get people to come using social media.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, me and Derek, we usually work together with anything that comes into a problem or a situation. We obviously talk it out. Communication is definitely a key factor within a leadership role. I I wasn't really good at it last year with communication. I barely checked my phone, and this after taking this leadership role, I've learned how to communicate and have a good team management and all these skills that I've learned have really helped this club team expand. And I want to continue doing this, and hopefully this new exec coming up next year will will copy us as well. But yes, every responsibility falls into the co-president, myself, and Derek. And yeah.
Nice, nice. What would you say? I mean, you just alluded to it a little bit, but probably just like the biggest lesson or biggest takeaway that you've had from this position.
Biggest lesson. I would say commitment. After our season was over, not that many players would show up. It kind of like to practice. It's kind of hard to see practices die down. It like beginning of the semester we used to have 30 kids, that 30 players that would pull up, and we would honestly have a blast. It would be really good practice sessions, and it would be so much fun. Now, like that season's getting to an end, it's just not. We usually have like 12 or 13 kids pull up, and it's still a great session, but it's not like we used to have like 15 more other people. But whatever number works. But um, I would say commitment is definitely a huge key or a huge takeaway because we want to keep this club alive and we want people to pay their dues and keep on going trips, booking hotels because overall, even if we lose, it's just a great time
Yeah.
with other players and with you and same team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about, definitely.
Yeah, Tony, I'm on the exec for Clemson Club basketball, so I'm not a president, but I'm a treasurer, so I know like a little bit of like what it's like being one of the leaders of the club team and stuff. And yeah, I definitely relate to a lot of the stuff you were saying. So I really appreciate you coming on here and just sort of sharing the behind the scenes of what it really takes, because it's a lot more work than people think that it is. And you really it's really an everyday thing, and it's a lot of stuff that can pile up really quick on you. So it
Yeah.
definitely takes a lot of commitment, like you were saying. And just appreciate you for coming on here and giving us some of that perspective, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if you want to shout out Clemson Club Soccer and like your like club's Instagram or like social
Oh yeah.
handle so listeners can learn about tryouts,
Yeah.
you can go
Wait,
ahead.
do you guys have like a name for yourselves, or like I do want to talk about this and kind of market it if that's fine with you guys.
Yeah.
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 Um, but no, I just want to say also like thank you guys for like having me as well. But I kind of, yeah, like Andrew said, like it is something I would love to talk about, and even more in with this in the upcoming semester too. So yeah, thank you guys for having me though.
Absolutely, man. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
And it's Clemson Men's Club Soccer on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Just for those who
Perfect.
want to check it out. Next semester, you guys have tryouts, right?
We do have tryouts. We're still scheduling it. We're trying to avoid life scheduling as well. So
Mhm.
we're still to be dated.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
stay tuned
Awesome.
on the Instagram for that.
All right, guys.
All right, Tony. Thank you,
All
man.
right.
Thank
Of
you
Appreciate you,
so
course.
All right,
much,
Tony.
guys. Thank
Tony.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Um, so that was a great conversation we just had with Tony. Very insightful, talking about just what it's like to run club soccer, but just club sports in general, as it's definitely a sort of a different thing that you don't hear much about at Clemson, where the main attention focuses on the really big stuff. So just sort of from my perspective, a little bit being the treasurer for club basketball, definitely related to a lot of the stuff he said, whether it be, because my job is just like to handle the finances and, to make sure everyone's paying and making sure those things get put in the right places and, booking Airbnb, stuff like that, reimbursing for gas. But it definitely is a lot more work than I thought it would be. It's not really not that much, but it's just like, you just don't think that it's that much. I thought it was literally just you just have the card on your phone and
Mhm.
like you just pay for stuff whenever you need to, but you actually have to log every single transaction in like this Excel sheet, and then you have to turn that into the school or into the like club sports association at the end of each semester so that they know how much money to give you as a school. And then you have to there's like three pillars that you have that the association gives you, and based on how well you meet those pillars of your team is how much money they'll give you. And so if you want to ask for more money, you basically have to create like a PowerPoint and then go present it and talk about how your team is fulfilling the three pillars.
Hmm.
And then based on really just how well you convince them that you're doing that is how much more money you'll receive from the school. And so the more money you have, the more you can do and the more incentive people will have to join the team, because I'm sure it's the same as for club soccer as it is for basketball, but there's tons of great like basketball players that don't play on the club team that
Yeah.
just go here and are just students, and
Mhm.
some of them like they just don't really want to play.
Hmm.
And at the end of last semester, I remember there was a lot of talk between a lot of the different club teams, like with each other, talking about how it's hard to get people to come to practice. And like recently, it's been hard to get funding. It's been hard to sort of just like, do what you need to do to keep a club team alive. And so, yeah, there's definitely a lot that goes into it. It really does feel like you're kind of managing like an organization at the end of the day.
Mhm.
So, there's a lot in it. I'm glad Tony was able to sort of touch on those, but yeah, I definitely feel what he was saying.
Mhm. And on a more like social media aspect of it, I was on Clemson Club swimming my freshman year, and I think like although didn't have an exact position, coming into like I'm from Jersey and coming to South Carolina, um, honestly think the social media was one of the main reasons. Like my friends and I even knew about tryouts, and like their Instagram was like super clear with like infographics and practice times, meet schedules, membership fees. And it made like it feel a lot less intimidating. So it is interesting, Drew, and like hearing from Tony to see the more exec aspect of it. But I do think that it is just like a really important um thing of a club team to really highlight like the team vibe of like photo dumps and like
Yeah,
reels from road trips and like day in
right.
my lives that like make it feel more welcoming for people that are thinking about joining. And like even my own friends, like they don't swim, but they wanted to try out and they said that the team looked like fun and not super intense, which definitely helped to convince more people to get involved and want to go to practice, as you were saying how you were having trouble with that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I mean, that's literally how you get people to try out because your social media as a club team, like no one else is going to report on it. So it's like
Hmm.
that's literally the only way that people are going to know anything. So really your social media, like really just your Instagram, like whatever your Instagram looks like is how people are going to think of the club team.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, like you were saying, it's really important to highlight sort of the more fun aspect of it because
Yeah.
for me, like that's obviously like you enjoy playing the game, like that's why you joined the team. But the best
Hmm.
parts of it has been like going to other schools, like going to Georgia Tech, going to Tennessee.
Yes.
Like we went to Bama and just won. Went to
Oh,
South Carolina this
So,
past weekend. Like going there and like getting to just go all across the country, like the biggest schools in the country, and play the game you love and like go
yeah,
out and explore the
absolutely.
city and stuff. Like that's what makes it fun. So definitely highlighting that on social is like it's probably the biggest thing. And I think that's also where like a lot of club teams I feel like go wrong.
hmm.
Or maybe not even go wrong because you can't really like it's really hard to like create like a negative aspect on social media,
Yeah.
but where there's a lot of missed opportunity, I feel like
That's a
is
good
in
way to put it.
social media, especially with like guys sports, just because, girls are naturally like more they're way better at like making a social media page look better. And I mean it's true. So yeah, I think there's definitely
Period.
Definitely true.
a lot of growth opportunity there for
Yeah.
the teams.
hmm
It's
Yeah,
interesting to see how like communication in like club sports, and I think just in a lot of things in general is like bottom up. Like it's athletes shaping the image of their own program in a way that like actually reaches people in an effective way, if you
Right.
will. So,
hmm
All right, since Drew and Tony were both talking about how it's like been difficult to get people to stay committed to club sports, Bennett, why were you only on the swim team for just freshman year?
um, it was more so I got involved with student government. So I was on freshman council my freshman year as well, which I didn't expect to get. And now I'm on the student alumni council. So there's just a lot that I like. I'm also going for exec of student alumni council. So
Nice.
I think I had to kind of leave that in the past. Like I'm still a very active person, but like just like the practice times and schedules like wasn't really working with my other student government commitments, and I kind of had to balance that out, if you will, and make a sacrifice. But I did love it. Like I had a great time for the year I was on it, and I'm grateful I did it. And yeah,
Ultimately, I just don't think everyone can be as committed as Tony Bennett. I think that's what we're.
at the end of the day, I agree. I'm gonna agree with that.
Yeah, I do really like what he said there, though. Like, I completely understand. Like at the start of the year, everyone's fired up and excited to, like join the team, and then
Hmm.
it definitely takes a lot to keep like rallying the guys and trying to get everyone there. And like he said, like through the
Yeah.
losses and through the end of the season, and just keeping the energy the same that it once was at the start of the season.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What
and I think leadership is like a big part of it. And I think that almost we talk about it a lot where it's like in news and stuff, people are like almost more drawn to personalities than to, what they're like the content of what they're talking about. And it doesn't go as far as like a leader of a club sport, but I will say like the leadership from last year to this year for our team like changed a lot. Like we lost like seven seniors last year, I think.
hmm
And
Mm.
so basically our whole team is new, but we're so much better this year than last year. Like we didn't even come close to winning tournaments last year. So the leadership definitely makes a huge difference of just like sort of creating I mean they set the tone for like what the atmosphere is going to be like, and last I feel like last year was a little bit toxic and but yeah, this year it's like if you can get a really good group of leaders that know how to get the guys to want to show up and create a competitive atmosphere and still make it fun. Like that's really where it's at.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that's a great way to wrap it up. I mean, that's why we we love sports and play sports because anyone can really be a leader in their own way across all levels.
Hmm.
That being said, this is our final episode, guys. Final episode of Tigers on the Mic.
So
Um,
sad.
it's been a
Yeah, sad to
pleasure.
see it
Been a
go,
great run.
guys.
It's
Great
been a
run.
Hmm. Thanks everyone for listening though.
Yeah,
We had
thank
so
you to
much
our
fun.
listeners.
Thanks, audience. Y'all are the best.
Yes.
We see you in the comment section.
Yeah, we'll see you
Oh,
guys in the
yeah,
comment
really
section.
active. And shout out Dr. Hakeem for being the greatest
Yeah,
professor.
go
oh yeah.
go
Best there
Hakeem.
ever was.
Yep, very
All right,
true.
guys. Thank you to our listeners once again. And I guess this is us signing off.